Today is August the 1st, 2017. My dear friend Julie Evans is making this video. I wrote this on the 13th of July, 2017. I wanted to write something before these wretched brain tumours fuddle my thinking. I really want to thank God, my family, colleagues, good friends and my doctors, especially my GP, Nina Brown, for 72 years of happiness and good fortune. My early life. I grew up with wonderful loving parents, with older brothers, David and Tim, who I greatly admired, and a younger sister, Lizzie, my playmate. Of course, they're all still dearly loved. We lived a fairly simple life at Hazelgrove, a large Georgian house in Somerset, surrounded by 150 acres, because my dad was the headmaster of a boys' prep school. Our parents had a strong faith in God and Christianity. We had family Bible reading and prayers before breakfast and walked to church every Sunday. We spent our time riding bikes, climbing trees, walking the dogs, swimming, etc. And our annual holiday was 2 weeks in Cornwall. We had great house parties when 30 or 40 relatives would fill up the dormitories in the holidays. And we had tennis tournaments and croquet and great fun. I felt loved and secure. So that was a good childhood. Then I trained as a nurse at St Thomas's Hospital in London. I was a nurse at St Thomas's for 5 years, which were tough at times, but great, and where I learnt a lot about health and illness. Then I had 3 years at the London School of Economics reading sociology, and a year at Bedford College, London, doing medical sociology. And that was interesting too. I lived a bit of a crazy life in London, lots of parties, but never finding the right man. And then I met Ollie. Ollie's been my husband, father to my wonderful children, friend and lover for over 44 years. When I took him home to meet my parents, I took him to the local hop at the pub and realised, unlike most men, he could dance. And we've danced ever since. We danced a lot in Brazil. We danced in Jamaica every February at Jamaica Inn with good friends, Debbie and John Taylor. And we danced in New York, where I landed hard on my bottom in a nightclub. We danced on a boat round Manhattan Island and saw New York with all the lights. And we danced on a boat in Sydney Harbour. Last year we danced on a boat in the Danube. We've also danced here in the village. So you might say we've danced around the world. We also held regular parties here in Upper Milton, mainly to entertain good friends, but also I had another excuse to dance. Once, when I suggested yet another party, Ollie said it would be cheaper to take me to the Ritz in London, and I held him to that. And every year since then, we've had a great night at the Ritz, staying there overnight after a wonderful evening of music and dancing. So you see, we've had really good times together. Apart from dancing, Ollie has also taken me to wonderful places with his work. He was mainly running Perkins engines and Massey Ferguson. For about 14 years, our travels took us to places such as South Africa, Seychelles, Brazil, Canada, and finally Philadelphia, where I had a chance to study again at the University of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Later, Ollie supported my studies in Lancaster and Manchester. Ollie's looked after me and the children and has helped to build all our houses, has fixed any broken items, saved us thousands of pounds. He has a great sense of humour and a brilliant inventive brain and has had 20 letters published in the Times. He's also supported me emotionally, physically and brilliantly during these last difficult weeks, caring for me and driving me to hospital appointments, etc., etc. So you can see why I thank God I met Ollie. I had to stop typing at this point because I couldn't see the keys due to tears. People say I'm brave, but I haven't been. And also because our dear vicar, the Reverend Kate Stacey, arrived to see me. Kate's amazing. She has a heavy workload with 4 churches to run and a family, yet still finds time to visit the sick. And she has a husband, Graham, who's a member of the clergy and who helps when needed, all unpaid. And we have Anne Hartley, an associate priest, who works tirelessly for the church, again unpaid, so we're very fortunate. Then I continued on the 14th of July, that's my brother David's birthday. Next, the children. Next, I have to thank God for my amazing, beautiful, intelligent children. Words can't describe how I feel about them, how proud I am of all their achievements. Hannah trained to be a vet and worked very hard. Her most exciting but dangerous job was in India, trying to get rid of the rabies in Kalimpong. She married Fergus, who has established successful business, making unique hand-covered headstones, memorials and opening plaques. Hannah helps Fergus with his business, and they have 5 children. She's also a school governor. Naomi is a first-class teacher. She and her husband Gary built a school in the Niger Delta. They train Nigerian teachers and have helped thousands of children to read in other parts of Nigeria. They've also helped to get rid of child abuse due to accusations of witchcraft. They have 3 children and have started a Montessori international school in Portugal while continuing their work in Nigeria. Toby was born in São Paulo. He had a difficult birth with broken bones and paralysed arms, but he never complained or made me feel guilty that I hadn't had a caesarean. And he went on to be a top-notch tennis and golf player. He works incredibly hard and has great jobs, and he's worked for companies such as Mars, Cadbury's and now McCormick. And he and his wife Emma, an accountant, have 4 children. Dear Hannah, Naomi, Toby, Fergus, Gary and Emma, you give me such joy, and we've had so many good times together, too many to talk about now. Family holidays in Norfolk were very special. Thank you for everything. I'm so proud of the way you're bringing up your individual families, giving them happiness, security and knowledge that it's important to care for other people. Please remember me as I am today, in July, not the grumpy person I may become due to illness. Which brings me to the grandchildren. The grandchildren have brought me great happiness over the past 14 years. So Hannah's children, Evie, Arthur, Laurie, Rafe and Myrtle. And Naomi's children, Amelia, Ruby, baby Luna June. And Toby's children, young Ollie, Grace, Ben and little Maddie. Thank you for all the happy times we've had together, reading, singing, walking, talking, playing and having outings. This is a couple of verses from A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square, Vera Lynn's song. It reminds me of dancing at the Ritz with Ollie, and it's here sung with Myrtle and Ruby. That certain night, the night we met, there was magic abroad in the air. There were angels dining at the Ritz, and the nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm perfectly willing to swear that when you turned and smiled at me, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. With children you see the world through new eyes, fresh eyes. The grandchildren have given me an excuse to visit the wildlife park and other beautiful places over and over. The children are all so different, and it's been such a privilege to help with their upbringing. I love them all so much. There have been worrying times, such as when Evie, the eldest, got lost on her pony in the dark, and we had to get the police helicopter to look for her, and when she was rushed into hospital with a burst appendix and stayed there about a month, and when baby Maddie was born last year, so small, and she looked so fragile, but on the whole, everything's gone well, and we've had great times together and lots of family meals. For the past few years, the extended family and the second cousins have all met for a weekend each year too, either in the youth hostel or more recently at Hannah's house, camping in the garden, and that's been such fun too, with swimming at Hannah's house and tennis and rounders at the Milton playground and riding and cricket at our house. My greatest sadness is that I shan't be here to help you all, to babysit, to read more stories, to see you all grow up and attend your weddings and other important events, but maybe I shall be with you in spirit. I pray and trust that will be so. Finally, my friends and colleagues, too many to mention by name. Working in Oxford over the past 17 years in the Nuffield Department of Primary Care Health Studies has been wonderful. I've just retired. As part of my work as a medical sociologist and researcher, I've been all over the UK with a video camera, listening to people talking about their experiences of illness and health and bereavement. That included listening to 40 people talking about their experiences of lung cancer. During this work, I've met some really inspiring people, such as Melanie Reid, who writes for The Times. Tragically, she fell off her horse and broke her neck and back in 2010. During my interview with her, she talked about living with a urinary catheter. Getting to that interview involved 2 train journeys, 2 bus trips, a taxi ride, until I found Melanie in the Highlands of Scotland. So life has never been dull. If you want to see these interviews and hundreds more done by me and my dear colleagues who work with the Health Experience Research Group at Oxford, see www.healthtalk.org. My job in Oxford also involved writing for academic journals, which I really enjoyed. These were articles about patients' experiences of health and illness. Ironically, my final article, accepted only 2 days ago, was about patients' experiences of getting a diagnosis for lung cancer and bowel cancer in 3 countries, England, Norway and Denmark. Susie Ebland was my co-author. We've been good colleagues and great friends since I started in Oxford in 2000. So you can see Ollie and I have made wonderful friends in the village and other parts of the world too. I'm just sorry I didn't make more time to keep in touch. So you can see I've been blessed by God and I've had a very full and happy life. I just wish I could be with you a little bit longer, but I trust we shall meet again in spirit. And in the words of the old Irish prayer, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind be always at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.